My guest is Adnen Souhir Dardouri, member from the National Constituent Assembly. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello everybody.
You were here last year.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you again.
Thank you for coming. Are you still representing the Congress for the Republic at the Assembly?
I no longer represent the CPR party in the Assembly.
Could you just give us an idea about the reasons?
I generally
Not in detail, but just...
Yes, I generally avoid to talk about this, but briefly I would say that I no longer feel that this party represents me. I no longer think I can represent this party, and that's all.
You know, we've heard the same comment from many lawmakers at the Assembly, those who belong to the Congress for the Republic. It's nearly the same comment of Mr. Mohamed Abdou. Are you planning to join the party of Mohamed Abdou?
No, I don't think so.
Probably working as an independent lawmaker.
Yes, for the moment I am an independent deputy.
Or about the plans for the future. We'll talk about your plans at the end of the edition.
Wait and see.
Wait and see. Okay, ma'am. So we've heard about tension at the Assembly, problems between lawmakers from Al-Nahda, the Congress for the Republic, and Assembly President Dr. Mustafa bin Jafar. You're an insider, and I'm sure you have an idea about what's going on at the National Constituent Assembly in Dardour. What is really happening in Dardour?
Okay. We have been working for about 1 year and a half, or maybe a little bit more, and there were long, heated debates and about controversial issues. But then we were shocked when we found out that the project now ready, the final draft, let's say, is different, is somehow different from what we have drafted.
Really?
Yes, I think the parliamentary committee charged with drafting the constitution has modified many articles.
Modified?
Yes, modified, relating, for example, to many rights, and for example also relating to the political system in general to be adopted in the new constitution. And so there are many points which were changed, and there is no agreement on them.
But modifying articles, do you have the proof that they have modified articles? Because this is what they say. When you hear Habib Khadr from the Assembly, another party, he says we haven't modified anything. This is the bit of feedback that you get from
the controversy now chiefly lies in the fact that this committee charged with drafting the constitution thinks that they have the prerogatives to interfere in the content of the articles. Other deputies say no. So there is a gap. Let's say there is a gap in the internal regulation of the Constituent Assembly. So we strongly point to the fact that they cannot alter meanings or change meanings or modify anything. We agree that the role is just the structure, maybe if there is a repetition of some maybe clauses, some words, some expressions to be improved. It means to improve just the just for improving the structure and the expressions, etc. But not
the meaning,
the
content.
Because you can imagine that during a whole year and a half, MPs have been discussing and debating about many important issues related to freedoms and rights, related to the Preamble, etc. And then we agreed on certain points, and then we find out that, unfortunately, either they do not exist anymore, or they exist, but in a different different way. It means that they are more open to interpretation. But the constitution, we want this constitution to be liable to only one interpretation, because this is very dangerous.
Having too many interpretations.
Yes, because if we let's not consider the recent. Let's not consider Let's not consider the moment, the times now. Let's consider the future. The majority, which will come to the parliament next time, they will interpret. The constitution as they like.
Really?
So we want more guarantees so that there will not be interpretation by the majority which will reign next time.
But the very fact of using different terms and vocab in the new constitution and in the final draft could change the content and the meaning, and that's the power of Arabic language. Which guarantees do you need?
Look.
Which guarantees?
The document, I mean the constitution, the final draft now, is still considered as controversial. Okay. The key point of disagreement centers on how Islamist the Tunisian constitution should be.
I see.
You see? So the majority in the parliament, in the constituent assembly now, want to show to the people of Tunisia that there are people against Islam, which is not true. The revolution, as you know, did not come because we have problems related to religion or identity. We do not have any problem.
Never raised the issue.
Never, as you know. So the draft, I feel that, and many experts of constitutional law agreed also that this draft or this document may clear or pave the way for a religious dictatorship, and may leave too much room for dangerous interpretations, as I told you, that could conflict with liberal spirits of a revolutionary constitution. Okay?
Yeah, I see.
So the fight over the constitution is the fight over the country's political and societal model. You know that the Islamists, maybe they are hiding this, they are not saying it they are not straightforward in saying this and telling this to the people, but we feel that they have an inclination towards changing the societal model of Tunisian people.
I see.
So it's not a problem of religion. We do not have any problem with religion. So the problem now
is with the interpretation of the...
is not between secularists and Islamists. No, this is a wrong problem.
You know what? We'll have a short break with music. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. We'll try to shed light on this issue of the Islamist constitution, or the fact of paving the way for a religious dictatorship. Is this true, or is this just an opinion that we could probably discuss? You know, on January 14, 2011, a friend of mine told me, "This is the first day of my life." I hope that she still has the same feeling. Stay with us. Then, what do you think of the preamble? Does it truly reflect the vision of 217 assembly members and more than 10 million Tunisians?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No. Look, we value the civil character of the state. And Tunisia is not a pure secularist, nor a theocratic state. So that means that protecting the right to practice religion is important, but not using religion as the basis for judicial or political order. So conservatives in general in Tunisia, not only in the assembly, they demand that Sharia
be included in the,
yes, Sharia law should provide the main source for legislations in the new constitution. And then they agreed that they instead they choose to retain the first article of the 1959 constitution, which says, I have the here, says that Tunisia is a free, sovereign and independent state whose religion is Islam and language is Arabic. Then we go back to Article 136.
136.
No, this is Article number 1. So
really?
they chose to retain.
Jump from 1 to 136.
No. I jumped
to
show you something important.
Yeah, go ahead,
I said they chose to retain the first article of the 1959 Constitution, and then in Article 136 of the draft, in the final chapter of the Constitution, states that no revisions are allowed to be followed to the following: Islam as the religion of the state.
Islam as the religion of the state, and this is the source of the controversy and the problem.
Yes,
not to be revised.
Yes,
even in 5 and 10 years.
Never to be touched. So this.
How did they manage to?
Yes, this shows that they really want a religious state and not a civil state.
And how did they manage to include it in the final draft?
No, this is not in the final draft. From the very first draft,
really?
Yes,
without consulting.
Yes, they were stubborn. They would not. They, despite everything, despite the influence of civil society, despite all the debates, they are strongly focusing on this, and they
are you talking about the
touch.
majority? Or are you talking about another party?
Yes, of course. But who then?
And who's supporting this project from the other political parties? That the CPR support the Wafa movement?
On the contrary, CPR is against.
What about Wafa movement and other political parties?
I don't think so.
So it was imposed by the majority?
I think all the parties and the independent MPs and the Constituent Assembly are against this project, are against this document in this way.
So the majority are against this project?
Yes, only Nahda MPs are
only Nahda MPs are for this project.
They adopt it, and they do not accept to listen to any other part.
So how could they talk about a final draft if you have not agreed on this issue?
It's not a final draft anyway. That we have to
revise.
Yes. We have no. First, we are going to the plenary sessions, and we are going to discuss each article on its side, and we adopt each. So each article is going to be adopted on its own, and then. If there is no agreement or consensus on this project, it will go back again to the committee for drafting the constitution.
When you mention the name of the lawmakers with the Dardouri, we usually think of rights and freedoms. As an MP, as a citizen, as a woman from the region of Nebel, do you believe that this project of the constitution, or this draft, that could be revised in the coming weeks and months, represents the woman, the Tunisian woman from Nebel, the lawmaker?
Excuse me, but I cannot talk about rights and freedoms separately from the preamble. The preamble,
so they take into consideration the fact that this Article 136 is a bomb, as you have said?
Yes. For example, in this draft, there is an article saying that the state protects women's rights and guarantees the protection of their how to say. I have the translation.
It's okay, no problem.
I personally said, if we go back to the preamble, which says that this preamble is based on Islamic teaching and principles, and so then I will think twice before accepting
To adopt it.
to adopt this
To vote
article
for-
specifically. Why?
Mhm.
Personally, I think that it should be the other way. So, what should we say? Instead of saying that the state protects women's rights
Mhm.
and guarantees their what's it?
Physical integrity.
No. Acquisition. Des acquis.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. I would say the opposite. I would say that the state guarantees the protection of women's acquisitions
Mhm.
and protects her rights. Why?
Mhm.
Because in this way, one of women's rights, if we have, if this constitution is founded on Islamic basis and religious teaching, etc.,
Mhm.
they can interpret it differently, saying that any woman has the right to get married. For example, she can reach a certain age and she did not marry, so
Which is the case of many ladies in
yes.
Tunisia.
So why not
in the region as
issue a law allowing men to have a second wife?
You think this is possible? No.
Yes. According to this constitution, yes. And believe me, if it wouldn't be altered,
Mhm.
the majority next time in the parliament will allow you men to have more than one wife.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We just have one and it's enough. It's enough. We are proud of having one.
Maybe
one
you'll change
lady.
your mind.
No, we will. No. We will defend your rights. Okay, we'll stand by you.
Okay.
Because you have sisters, you have mothers, you have women, our own. While you will probably have daughters in the future.
Yes.
So it's very important for us. Your rights are our rights at the end. Why have you mentioned that the preamble is dangerous? You've even used the expression it's some bomb that could explode in the coming years.
Of course, certainly. The preamble of the constitution is built on the fundamentals of Islam
Mm-hmm.
and its open and moderate objectives. This is the translation of the article. I repeat. So, the constitution is built on the fundamentals of Islam and its open and moderate objectives,
Mm-hmm.
on the sublime human values and on the principles of the universal human rights,
Mm-hmm.
in line with the cultural specificities of the Tunisian people. So here, as you see, universal human rights are qualified by reference to cultural specificities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this qualification of universal human rights with such broad language gives the executive branch, lawmakers and the courts broad discretion to claim cultural specificities as a basis for undermining or limiting any human rights as they are universally recognized. I think that our assembly by no means should should not let loopholes in this draft, because this is very dangerous. So it would allow future government to crush dissent or limit the basic rights that Tunisians fought hard for. Okay, if you want more specific examples, I would tell you that. For example, in this preamble, no right to freedom of thought, conscience, and of course there is ambiguous affirmation of freedom of belief. So this ambiguity and these vague lexical items used here let a loophole for the future legislatures to do as they want. Okay, and this is very dangerous, of course.
Last year I was discussing this issue with a constitutional law expert, and he told me, just look at the American Constitution. It survived for hundreds of years, and it will probably survive for thousands of years. And this is a good example. They could have opted for a constitution.
Yes, Bill of Rights. And
like the American one, and they could have also taken into consideration the fact that we are Tunisians, Arab, Muslims, Mediterranean, African, and a mixture of all these identities and origins. Let's have a look at the other loophole that you want to talk about?
There are so many.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think 1 hour is not enough to talk about all these loopholes. Anyway, for example, the Constitution mentions freedom of belief only in the chapter on general principles and not in the chapter for rights and freedoms.
Why?
I don't know.
Do you have an explanation?
I don't have any explanation. This is the mission of the committee for drafting the constitution. They changed the place of some articles. They took some articles from rights and freedoms, took it to the preamble, and vice versa. So really, I personally cannot understand. Sometimes, for example, it must be in the section for rights and freedoms. So why mention it in the preamble or general principles of the Constitution? So this really cannot be...
to get rid of it.
Yes, I really cannot understand anything. So there are many limitations on freedoms of expression, assembly and association. Despite all the struggles, despite all the debates, despite all opposition, they stick to this. So as I told you, they are stubborn people. They are stubborn people, and I really cannot understand why they cling to these things. All the Tunisians, okay, the assembly is a miniature of Tunisian society, you can say, and what happens in the Constituent Assembly happens also in the cafes, in the streets, everywhere. So all the MPs...
even so worse at the Assembly.
Yes, not so worse, but this is a miniature, as I told you, of Tunisian society. Don't exaggerate, please.
I'm not the only one exaggerating.
No, look, they are not fighting because of food, or I don't know, because of coffee, or they are fighting because of fundamental values and issues.
I'm just kidding, you know.
Yes.
It's not my position.
Because generally the media is exaggerating, is showing a caricature image of.
But this is basically the role of the media in the post-revolution era, you know.
You see, there is a risk. There is a risk that
showing a certain image.
Yes, we run the risk that our society turns its back to politics and politicians, and we fear that next time, in the next elections, people will refuse to go to elect.
Do you think this could happen?
I'm quite sure, because now, as I talk with people from my family, from my
but it's not the mistake of the media. Excuse me. It's not the mistake of the media.
No,
it's not because the media are criticizing my colleagues in newspapers, radio stations, TV stations, private and public, are criticizing MPs or showing a certain image of MPs that people are going to stay at home.
Criticize me for my beliefs, for my opinions, for my attitudes. Don't criticize me for the way I dress, for the way my hair is. So this is unfair. So what we are seeing now is, as I told you, caricature.
But we do have the same thing in Europe. We do have the same thing in the United States, in Canada, in different regions.
Are not used.
We are learning.
Such,
we are all learning.
Are not used with such behavior, with such attitudes. So they still have some respect to the representatives of the state. So if you show them as Tom and Jerry, for example, in cartoons, or I don't know, so people will no longer respect these representatives of the people, let's say. They will turn their back to politicians and to politics in general, and will refuse to elect next time.
So
this is the danger.
we'll just show them and present them as gladiators, if you want. That would be good, okay? Without criticism, without.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I know, I do understand. I know that.
I
know. So you know what? We'll have a short break with Fight for This Love. For this love. 247 on FTC, listening to the English language program. You can join me on my Facebook page, FTC the English language program. Thank you very much for your feedback and for your emails. Souhir Dardouri is my guest, assembly member, lawmaker. Now, earlier we talked about the problems at the National Constituent Assembly and the preamble, and we just talked about problems. So I have one question which has two different sides. Where is the solution to the current deadlock or problem at the National Constituent Assembly between the majority and other MPs from other political parties? And do you see a positive side after more than 18 months at the Assembly?
Okay, I think that certainly the Constituent Assembly should make a number of revisions to the current draft to consolidate the rights, protections, and to tighten the loopholes, as I told you. For example, it should include a general clause directly incorporating into Tunisian law human rights as defined by international treaties ratified by Tunisia. This is very important. Such treaties and customary law should form an integral part of the law of Tunisia under the new constitution. It should include an affirmation of the right to freedom of religion, thought and conscience. Another party refused to include this.
Why did they refuse to include this?
They say
I know you
freedom,
have an explanation.
Yes,
I know you
they
have an
say
explanation,
freedom,
so.
only freedom of to practice religious rights, etc. And that's all. Okay, some people choose to be religious. They practice, let's say, the religious rituals. Others are neutral. Okay, others don't believe. They are atheist. So there should be freedom guaranteed.
Others have other religions.